Hey guys, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. The back of our Hilux, we've got some suspension. I think Father Christmas, Christmas presents. So I just want to run through a few things here. We're giving the, so we've got a 2013 Hilux in case you missed that. So all this information, anything on our Hilux will be in our playlists. Now we do a lot of Prado suspension. We do have kits, sent anywhere Australia wide if you need a lift kit for your Prado. Hilux, we haven't done a lot. We used to do Hiluxes. We haven't done a lot for years. Haven't done much at all, is what I mean. We used to do a lot, but not anymore. But, if you watch this video and you really would like me to organise it for you, it's possible. But I just want to run through a few things to help you with your spring choices, I suppose, if you're not going through me. So this will help you either way. So completely unselling myself, if you know what I mean, because I'm going to give you the advice and information here, and then you can get them for anywhere you like. But of course, if you want to support me, you can do that too. Happy days. But just remember, Monday's parts day. Tuesday's more like suspension. Tuesday's more like, suspension day is more like Tuesday. You can hit me on Monday, but if you don't get a response, just remind me again on Tuesday, because all the other main kits are on Monday. Now you can see the part numbers of the rear springs we've got here. So we'll just quickly go through all the components. Let's do the front first. So in the front, we'll just move the list here for a sec. We'll just have a quick look. We've got the, get that box open. A bit of a flip and a flop. We've got the monotubes without the remote reservoir for the front. Okay. Let's try to put back over there for a minute. We're doing the front, but look, there's the rear shockers in case you're unsure. We've gone for the monotubes. I'm going to go through a few of the listings, what we used to use and what the options are. So the front, we've gone for the 302s, right, which are more of the comfort option. Okay, so let's be clear. Comfort option is what I was saying. So there's a few listings, you've got the V6 and you've got the diesel. There's a few different coils and stuff you can use, but your range of your 134s, 296s, 300s and 302s, they're basically all this spring, the same spring rate if you like. This one's going to get, look, most of the people have got diesel, so it does vary. This is where the spring selection comes in. It is quite difficult to work out which one's which, and now if a shop's dealing with all these different makes and models, mate, you know how hard it is to work out the right ones? Well, it's not that hard if you've done a lot of it, but people often get it wrong. So what I'm going to say is these are the 302s, and they're supposed to give you, they're going to give you around about 40 mil. I like 40 mil on the front of these IFS Prados or Hiluxes, so it's going to give you about 40 mil, and it's always about, with 50 to 100 kilos, right? That's kind of like, on a petrol, diesel, on a diesel, you're going to get, look, you're still going to get about 40 to 50 with a bull bar, with, like a bull bar and nothing else. Now, if you've got heaps of weight like bull bars, brush bars, winches, cable winches and batteries, and you've just got heaps of weight on the front of your Hilux, this is going to go down, right? So this is still the comfort. If you want the comfort option, you go 302. The 314 isn't actually listed for the Hilux, but the 314 is about 10 mil, I think from going from memory here, is about 10 millimeters longer than the 302, which means it gives you 20 mil. So if you're concerned you're only going to get 30 mil out of a 302, well, if you use a 314, it's 10 mil longer, so you're going to get about 20 mil more. So 314 could do the job, okay? I'm not saying, look, it's been years since I've done this, but that makes sense to me. But it's not actually a listing on, if you look on the Dobinsons, listings and website and all that, they go to a 350, which is cool. That's like a heavier spring. That's like what's used on the 150 Prado, because they're a bit heavier. Now, if you've got all the weight, the 350, it probably doesn't matter. Probably just stick with the 350 anyway, because it's going to hold that weight up better anyway. That's why, you know what I mean? So, maybe disregard what I said. But for me, I've only got the steel bull bar. We're going to add a winch as well. But remember, in this box here, see these? You can't see them yet. But see the threads under there? Adjustable spring seats, the monotubes, right? So we're going to run the 302s. And when we put the winch on and any other weight, if it goes down, we just take the weight of the springs off, that's in another video, and adjust those spring seats. Just be careful how you do that. But so 302s we're selecting the front. Monotubes, we're going to reuse the original strap tops, the Toyota genuine strap tops. For in the rear, you can have a look. We already showed you the rear shockers, we already went through that, didn't we? Part numbers on those, yeah, maybe we'll get to those. Just give me a sec. So monotube shocks all round. The only parts we've gone for, because this vehicle, it's already got a lift in it, right? It's already got greasable shackles and whatever. So we've got new U-bolt kits, right? And we've got some new bushes, and that's it. And then we've got the springs. Now, the part numbers we've got here, CL59049. Now, there's a few different listings, and I'll go through a few of the listings of the springs again in a moment, because some people are already losing patience. If you haven't got the patience, it's kind of a bit of bad luck. What I want to go through, these are the parabolic springs, right? Now, 3 + 1 is really kind of like, you know, what we're talking about here, all right? But the only difference, so this is a genuine 049 right here, right? What's the difference? So 049, what's the part number? This is a 3-inch lift in 049, right? The right part number, I think, I'd have to check it. I think it's an 047 or something like that. That's for the 2-inch lift. Now, the difference is, and I'm not the expert on this, but the difference is, see where the spacers are, or the packers, whatever you want to call them, right? I don't know what the official name on a leaf spring, right? See here, you've got, right, underneath. That's for a 3-inch lift, a 3-inch lift, 3 for free, right? But if you just want a 2-inch lift, you just undo the bolt carefully, right? Release the pressure slowly, not a big deal. Depends what springs, take care, because, you know, springs, mate, life and death. So don't touch them if you don't know what you're doing, including compressing coil springs with a spring compressor. Very dangerous. But what I've just done, that's why the tools are sitting here, I just removed that, because I don't want a 3-inch lift at the moment. Now, there was somebody that asked on one of the comments, so this video is for you. Well, kind of, because somebody said, oh, do Dobinsons do a parabolic spring that can take 500 kilos? Well, I'll tell you now, right? The only thing that's going to take the weight is more steel, right? More leaves, and that's why there's, you know, 3s plus whatevers, and 4 plus whatevers, and 5 plus whatevers, right? More steel. That's what takes the weight. You can't have comfort and take the weight. If you select the right spring for the weight, it still should be reasonably comfortable. The problem we got with this ute, they got the heavy springs. It's got some EFS gear in it. It had something heavy on the back, like diesel fuel tank or something, earth moving, you know. Probably had at least half a ton and some tools and other crap. So it was probably reasonably comfortable when it had that on the back, okay? It's got no weight now. It's just an alloy tray, as you can see, just alloy, very light. So we could have gone for the 040s. They're the kind of lightest, you know, they're what they call medium. So there's medium, the 040s. There's, if this is going by memory, so I could be wrong. Medium is the 040. The heavy duty is the 041. And the 04, I think it goes to an 042, is extra heavy duty. So either way, you're medium heavy, extra heavy. This is the comfort option, okay? But what we've done is, we've got this part number here, so we can do a video and demonstrate for you. If you wanted a 2-inch lift, or you wanted to change from a 2-inch lift, let's say that, oh, you've got your parabolic 2-inch, you wanted comfort, and oh, but it's too low, right? Okay, well, guess what? You can probably reverse it around opposite to what I've done, and you'll have a setup that looks like this, right? Because it all depends on where your diff's sitting, right? Your diff's under there, right? It's all a matter of how much space between the diff or at the top of the U-bolts. You'll see what I mean when you do it, right? The reason I've got one change and one not is to show you the difference. Pretty simple. It's just like a pin that goes through. It can only go one way. Bada bing, right? But if you had this spring, so this is now a 2-inch, it's not this part number, right? That's the part number for that one, that's 3-inch. This one's now a 2-inch. So, you know, technically, cross that out, that's wrong. So if you had a 2-inch, this one, and it was, you wanted another inch height, you're not making it a 3-inch lift if it's only a 1-inch lift, you're making it to 2, even though it's listed as a 3. So this is where you got those variables. Commercially available lift, 2-inch lift kit, whatever, no worries. But you know, sometimes you need a 3-inch lift to get a 2-inch lift, depending on what your selection is. And I'm just trying to help you out here, in case you've got a Hilux and it's not high enough. I'm not telling you to go and get some steel that's 60 by 130, drill a hole in the middle and add a couple of spaces or whatever, because I'm not sure whether that'd be illegal. I mean, the spring manufacturer, hey, they can do that, right? You know, it's a little bit rounded on the sides, but you can see they've just sliced it out with a guillotine, right? And it's rounded on the sides here. Yeah, it's 130 long and 60 wide, and you know, they're probably about, I don't know, 10 or 12 mil thick by the looks of it. I haven't measured exactly. They look like about 10 to be quite honest. So it's probably about 20 mil, you know, difference anyway. It's like a spacer. So if you were to then put a spacer at that end of the spring underneath, right? So if you had some there and you moved them to there, or if you didn't have any and your bolt was long enough and you added in, anyway, I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just saying, you know, off-road use only, you know, if just trying to help you understand what could be possible. Okay, so this is a value for money lift kit. Now, this stuff isn't cheap. Probably people want to know a few prices, so I'll go and get the paperwork, and we'll have a bit of a look and see what's what, and we'll go through some of the bit more information on the spring listings for the Hilux, for both front and rear. If you're one of these people that isn't going to have a bull bar, you may use part numbers like, you know, 296s and 300s, but generally you're not going to use any. You're not going to use, look, the 296 is really the lowest in my opinion. That's for the front coil springs, but that's more of a, haven't got a bull bar and I just want sort of 20 to 30 mil with my diesel, right? Now with the petrol, you're going to end up higher than that because it's lighter. It makes quite a bit of difference really. 300 is in between the 296 and the 302, what we have here. I can't remember the exact lengths. If I thought really hard I could, but under pressure on camera, I can't do it, you know. So let's have a look at the prices. So look, coil springs, $279 a pair. Leaf springs, $342 each. So you're up to about $1,000 just for your springs. $284 for your front monotubes each, and $258 for your rear monotubes each. So you're around about $1,000, over $2,000 there already, about $1,000 between the four of those, plus a few other bits and pieces, about $2,200 worth from memory. But obviously we like to help you out where we can with pricing. So you know, you can get a value for money kit. You may need a brake adjuster, you may want greasable shackles. So expect this kit price quite often to blow out to near the 2.5, 2.6, with all the bits and pieces you need and strut tops assembled and all that sort of thing. And of course, freight delivered to your door. You know, there's no freight here on this invoice, is there? So, and of course the invoices and their deliveries and all that sort of thing. Yeah, we don't need, I just went whoosh, and we'll just, that's the details for people that wanted to know. Part number, see, this is how we roll, right? You can rewind, you can pause, you can see how many you need. But for the value for money kit, we need the springs for comfort, right? We need the monotubes for comfort, in my opinion, although we're about to talk about that. Monotubes all round. We've got the comfort springs, so this is a comfort setup. Now, you can go for the 300 or the 296, it's not going to be any more comfortable than that spring. The 350, you're probably going to feel it a little bit, but not much. It's not really the spring that gives the ride so much. It's usually the valving of the shock absorber, right? Generally, other than like heavy leaf springs, mate, they're going to give you the ride of your life, I tell you, right? So, but these babies will be all right. Now, we may also have the EFS kit, heavy duty kit. It sits really nice. I'm really happy with the height. It's got a steel bull bar. So if you want something that's bloody really dirt cheap, it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, leaf springs aren't cheap. They're nearly $400 each, right? So I'm not giving it away. So there you go. For the price of the leaf springs, $600, you can have the whole kit, right? So you get the leaf springs, you get the rear shockers, you get the front struts, and you get the springs. So you got a cheap lift kit, right? But you want to have some weight in the rear, either a steel tray, some toolbox, or something in the back. Otherwise, look, don't get me wrong, we've been driving around in it for thousands of Ks. We're just going, yeah, it's a bit rough for an alloy tray with nothing in it. If you tow, you got some weight in the back. The springs that are in this vehicle are going to be absolutely awesome, and they're in really good condition. We won't go and have a look at them now. If you're interested, let me know. Hit me in a text message, 0490 261 013. I'm interested in that EFS kit you've got that you're taking out of your Hilux. But it's pick-up only Melbourne. I'm not sending it. I'm not mucking around. Big, heavy springs. I'm not doing it. Just so everybody knows, you know, not happening, okay? So it's pick-up only. If you're around somewhere in Victoria, Melbourne area, we can work it out. Now, part numbers, what else are we going to talk about? Let's talk about these rear springs a bit more. So the rear springs. So, as we say sometimes. You got this really, so there's heavy. I'm just having a look at the listings here, actually, to be quite honest. The 047, right? That's your 3+1, right? So your 047's your normal part number for your 2-inch lift, which will look like this, all right? And your 049's for your 3-inch lift. So the normal range of springs we would use is the 040, okay? The 040. They're sort of talk. It's 3+3 leaves, and it's like, you know, medium duty. So you're not going to get as smooth ride as this, right? This is the comfort option 3+1. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's the comfort option. The 3+3 straight away, you're going to get the same 50mm lift, but as soon as you add some weight, you know, like this parabolic setup, you know, they say up to about 100 kilos. Look, a spring's a spring. It's as simple as that. With a medium duty, you can still only get the same lift with up to 100 kilos, you know, constant load as well, right? So there's not much difference in height. So why would you do it? But then you go up to heavy duty, which is 4+3. They're the 041s, like I said, and then the 042s, which are 5+3. And I think the 5+3s, I think both of those springs are dearer. So just so you know, the parabolic or the unless the parabolic ones are a different price, but those in the 040s are the cheapest range, right? These ones that are, what are they, 342 each. If you go for the heavier springs, they cost you, it's about 30, 40, but 50 bucks more, stuff like that. It's small money, not a big deal, but there's an extra leaf or two, whatever, so the price changes a little bit. So hopefully I've explained a little bit and given you some information with the springs, what you wanted. I don't know what you wanted, but to answer the question of the person that said, I would not put 500 kilos on these springs. I would go and buy the sensible spring for the job. If you wanted comfort and you just wanted to add the 500 kilos sometimes, well then you just deal with it. It just ends up lower when you load it up. What are you going to put, a pallet that's got half a ton every now and then? Well, you just go, okay, well I'm, you know, I haven't got a 2-inch lift at the moment, but you're delivering a pallet and you don't worry about it, because when you hit the tracks you don't take half a ton out with you. If you got half a ton all the time, then you don't put these springs, right? So it's a matter of selecting. Read the listing, right? Read the listing, because the listing will say, what is it? With the 042s, it says 450 kilo constant load, right? With the 041s, 280 kilo constant load. So and with the 040s, it's 100 kilo constant load medium duty. I'll tell you that the medium duty, the 040, will hold the 100 kilos better than the 047, okay? Now, you've of course got another listing in 039, but it's only 25mm lift. So again, it's probably going to be to do with spaces, but I don't know that because I don't normally look into the springs this much, whatever, and I'm sort of sharing the information with you that I'm seeing and letting you know what I'm doing. So we end up with a 2-inch lift, and because I have been warned that if I load it up, these may sag. You know, things may happen, right? So what we're learning here is, if these things happen, well, what do, mate? We might take one of those, put it back at that side. We might take both of those and put them back at that side, because we're going to end up with a 2-inch lift. We've probably already got a 2-inch lift. It's not so much of a measurement, we're going to get a nice measurement at the front. We just want the back a little bit higher. But we know people with Hiluxes, they don't like the, oh, you know, the nose down, I want to level it out. Level it out's great if you're never going to load up the rear. The reason all vehicles, Prados, Hiluxes or anything else, is always lower at the front, higher at the rear, because when you load it up, the rear's going to go down. And a lot of the weight is behind the rear axle, which pops the front up, sort of cantilever effect. So you've got to allow for that. You don't want to level it out. But I'm going to give you some leveling information. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, because if you hung around, thanks. But yes, these are expensive. I totally agree. And if you don't want to spend the money and you're happy with the height of the rear of your Hilux and you're happy with the comfort with the standard suspension, then you can just get some springs for the front. Get some monotubes. They'll just make it more comfortable as well. Get some of these monotubes that we showed you in whichever box it was in, with some springs. And you might just go for something like the 300s. Again, you don't want to go too high. If you go through, it depends what your load is. If you've got a bull bar, an ARB bull bar, you might even just go these 302s are going to be the most popular, really, because most off-roaders have got a bull bar. You know, that's just how it is. 302s, you don't need to worry, oh, it's not high enough, because you don't need to be too high. Remember what I say, less is more. The handling of the vehicle, the safety of the vehicle. If you've got a decent bash plate, and Kaon is still working on one for the N70, so don't you worry about that, it's coming. And you can adjust the spring seat if you're really fussy. So look, for comfort and flex, my choice was definitely 302. I think it's going to work out really well. I just bumped that spring and nearly went over. I'm going to get back on the job and, you know, get the other two of those onto there, and happy days. And I hope you liked it and learnt something. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. We've got some better videos there. We'll chuck this one in the suspension playlist and also in our Hilux. So if you want to see the information about suspension, there's a suspension playlist and there's our 2013 Hilux. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch ya. Hear the sirens? They're coming for me. Mate, so what, do you reckon I'm crazy? You see what I'm saying? Take these off, right? Take that out, all right? Go like this. Oh, that's kind of like painted together. I'll make some more noise. Hang on a sec. Oh, it's staying together this one. That's okay. I can do that too. But look, see, you got these little spacer plates in between here as well, right? So just make sure they stay in place. This is going to go there now. This is going to go in there. You get the drift. Back through, bang, nut back on. Happy days. And that's a video. Then it's a 2-inch parabolic instead of a 3. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.